While we're in Fort Pierce, we have a few repairs to make, the first being our Starlink setup.
Before we left the Bahamas, our Starlink setup died. All of a sudden the breaker kept popping and I couldn't really figure out why. Kind of like stepping through the pieces and unplugging things, I thought it was the 12 volt to 48 volt step-up converter, which if you look at the reviews on, they're pretty hit or miss. Where like they're either gonna work or they're gonna work for a while and then die, or they're just going to work forever and be fine. I wasn't able to buy a spare step-up converter, so of course that is the thing that died and I didn't have a replacement for. Our solution was just, cool, we'll run Starlink off the inverter. But now being back in the States, I was able to get more of those step-up converters and I bought 2 of them. Technically I bought 3 of them, one on accident. But now we were able to replace this and I think it's pretty good to go. Let's go ahead and see if this works. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign. It didn't really seem to do anything. Usually it would just like pop this breaker. Maybe because it's not pulling any power. Okay, router has been plugged in. Let's go ahead and try this again. Now let's try it again.
The second thing we needed to work on was the engine's water cooling system.
Yeah, I feel like I can't catch a break recently. We have a little bit of water in our engine bay, and I think it's because there was some kind of leak from all of the work we did on the water pump. And it's not like that big of a deal. But the more annoying thing is like when I start up the engine, I kind of have to like mess with the hose because there's air in there and it's preventing it from pulling at idle, which means I have to like go and mess with the hose until it gets kind of like enough suction that it will continually pull the raw water in. This is the strainer that we had on, and yesterday as I was tightening up the hoses, I ended up twisting one of the hoses and this portion just broke right off. And you know, from looking at it, it seems kind of like these things go for like 30 bucks on Amazon, and my buddy Hunter said that they just like don't really last too long. But since I don't have anywhere to send stuff on Amazon really, I went to a marine consignment shop and I bought this beautiful boy. I think West Marine sells it for like 400 bucks, and the consignment shop it was more like 200 bucks. So pretty good deal. It's like one of those things that just like feels so good and sturdy to use. Like you're like, it's like very almost steampunk. So, you know, boat upgrade, kind of excited for it. I just want to have like the right thing for the right job, and I didn't really want to buy like another cheap strainer. It feels pretty airtight. I don't know, I think it's gonna work. I think it's gonna work a little better than that other strainer. I think I gotta take this bottom part down and off so I can mount it on the piece of wood where the strainer was. Okay, so here is where the holder is for the old one. So we're just gonna pop that guy off and try to get the new ones on. Okay, so kind of like everything, this is turning into a headache. Broke the head off that other screw. We're just gonna pre-drill the holes a little bit, just so they go in a little easier. We'll use the drill this time too. But we don't want to go too deep, so we're just gonna go ahead and go like this. And marker. Ah. And that way we know if we're that deep, that's as deep as we want to go. Okay, end of the saga. It's installed. It's still not working the best though. Still kind of has trouble getting started, which is kind of an important part. But I'm kind of beat, so I think we're just gonna have to leave it like that for now, and then I'm just gonna have to figure it out a little bit later.
Unfortunately, we're still going to have to work on this problem at our next destination, but the engine is working fine once we get it going properly. So we decided to tackle our first overnight sail from Fort Pierce, Florida to St. Augustine. We left Fort Pierce at sunrise. Going to St. Augustine today. This is going to be our longest sail. It's going to be overnight. That's the goal anyways, is to sail overnight into tomorrow. So yeah, first overnight sail, just the two of us. Scott is missing.
I do. I look very silly. It's almost like a little cabbage on top of my head.
I'm just snacking on some saltines. It's so flat out here this morning. This is the ocean. We're in open water. It's so flat, which is amazing because there's no waves, but also there's no wind, so we're just motoring, which is kind of a bummer, but at least our engine's working, so you know. Since the two of us have only done day sails up until this point, we haven't been using a shift schedule for watch yet. We decided to try out 2-hour shifts on this sail and see how we felt about it. Quite turn the engine off yet, but I'm excited. It's building. Need some wind. You're a keeper.
Thank you.
This is the end of my first watch. Saw a lot of flying fish, maybe a dolphin or two, which was pretty exciting, but only like 1 or 2 other boats up here. Overall, we've both been feeling a lot more comfortable sailing. Even the thoughts of storms or engine issues don't really scare me like they used to. And getting the sails in and out is almost second nature now, when it felt so scary and foreign before. I'm really excited to see what the future brings because at this point we've really only been moving the boat around for a few months and we've already experienced so much. If you want to experience every emotion known to man, I suggest you get a sailboat.
Finally, something happened to share. It's been a little bit uneventful of a day. We spent most of it motor sailing so far, and then like 2 hours ago, we finally got enough wind to get all of our sails out and actually move it like 4, 5 knots. Not the fastest boat in the world, but the one we love. But we finally got some storm clouds kind of off to our west here. So we kind of like rolled the head sail almost all of the way in. We have our storm sail out. We have a reef in the main, kind of like preparing things for if it does actually get kind of stormy. So far it almost looks like it's dissipating before, but we can still hear the lightning and the thunder. We're just gonna keep on keeping on.
Thankfully that storm didn't come out towards us. We kept seeing the storms in the distance, but I was much less afraid this time around. Not saying I'm totally over my fear of storms, but at least I've experienced it a bit on the boat now. We really like the shift system and plan on going up to 4 hours for our next sail. Although the only downside is it's much lonelier because you're either on watch or sleeping, so we didn't get as much time together on this sail as we usually do. But getting sleep also helps the time go by faster, so that's a win. We did still end up having to prime the hose with water to turn on the engine while underway, so fixing that will be a first priority in St. Augustine. Thankfully the engine is running well otherwise and the drive leg looks good. I wanted to take a quick moment to tell you all about our Patreon. Patreon is where we post real-time updates about what we have going on that day and share more in-depth about how we're feeling about being on the sailing journey. We do a monthly live stream, one-on-one calls, and you can even have your name carved into a plaque and affixed to Talia, forever cementing you as part of our adventure. There will be a link in the top right corner of this video and in the description. We even post on the free tier membership, so we encourage everybody to go check it out. Thank you so much again for all of the support. We are so grateful to all of you helping us keep our dreams a reality. We didn't record as much of the sail as I would have hoped. Honestly, I think we were both really feeling burnt out from all of the engine problems and moving around so quickly that we just didn't have much energy to pick up the camera. After my shift from 12 a.m. to 2 a.m., Patrick ended up taking a double shift through the night so that I could sleep because honestly, he's kind of a hero. So when I took over in the morning, I let him sleep until he woke up. We got to see a couple of dolphins. The water was so calm in the morning, it almost looked unreal. It was like moving through a mirror. Picking up a mooring ball in St. Augustine. We were so beat and really just needed a second to breathe, not to mention being able to take real showers and do all of our laundry. We met some really lovely people while we were here and got to explore the area some. It's a very cute spot to check out, definitely touristy, but still really nice. We also had a chance to restock up on some groceries. How much was this?
$192.
Oof. Oof.
Oof.